Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me on this live stream of this virtual event. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person in Washington, D.C. Instead, I'm coming to you from Sydney, Australia. And I'm going to be talking to you about a topic that's close to my heart, which is crowdsourced content for brand marketing. So, have you ever wondered why it took Lego almost 30 years to actually produce a Jaws set? Or have you ever wondered why bacon is suddenly everywhere in McDonald's menus? Over here in Australia, we have something called a McDonald's double beef and bacon. But there are similar concepts in every McDonald's franchise now across the world. Why? The answer actually is crowdsourcing. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. And I'm going to talk to you about how to crowdsource, why to crowdsource, when to crowdsource, and most importantly, for smaller brands, how they can get into it. Now, let's look at the word crowdsourcing, because unlike crowdfunding, it actually means the practice of obtaining input from multiple sources. Now, we're going to be talking today about crowdsourcing creative. Going back 15 years now, so this is now a well-established concept. It's actually used by 85% of the large brands in the world. Really, this idea of getting content from the crowd, multiplying the talents of many, and bringing them into one place is now quite well established. In fact, the reason why big brands love it so much is because it can be about 95% cheaper than traditional advertising. So let's go back to the very beginning of crowdsourced video. 2007, Doritos put out a call for its lovers of its corn chips to record their own TV commercial that would be played in the Super Bowl. And a big part of their call to action was that then the name of the creator would actually be placed on the video. So let's have a look at that. And crowdsourced video has subsequently been a feature of every Super Bowl ever since. And Doritos have done it again, and other people. And the quality of production has become noticeably more amateurish. Not to say that's bad, but actually if you look at this commercial from 2019's Super Bowl, you'll see that they've interspersed professionally shot with, at about halfway through, you'll start seeing user-generated video that was just uploaded by ordinary people who wanted to capture the authentic feeling of what the wine meant to them. So let's have a look at Yellowtail from 2019.
Long week, like lifelong bonds and well-deserved promotions, like the online date who actually looks like their profile picture, like crushing your best man speech. It tastes like this, like that, like finding exactly what you're looking for, like being in the right place at the right time.
Now, those videos in the middle were uploaded via a competition by a New York-based social influencer who was also creative director of a New York ad agency. So he kind of knew what the kind of video that they wanted, right? But even so, it was interesting in the later version of crowdsourced video that they pillar boxed it in to make it clear to the audience that this was somebody's ordinary footage. And it's that authenticity that actually is now a growing trend. And you'll notice that these were big brands. And I'll come back a little bit later on to tell you a bit more about how smaller brands can also get in on the crowdsourced action. So what you can see is actually, going back to those first two ideas, you can actually use crowdsourcing in your marketing, not only for the creative, but actually to crowdsource product ideas. So if you remember the Lego Jaws Orca, well, this actually came out from the Lego Ideas platform, which is where members of the public can go on, put up their designs that they've built in Lego, and then get other people to vote on them, and the winning ideas get made into sets. So even though Jaws is an old movie, Someone has crowdsourced it. And then the bacon at McDonald's. Well, around the world, but starting off with this example in Austria, actually, McDonald's has very successfully rolled out My Burger, which has led on to customized burgers in restaurants. But actually, it's also given them perfect insight into what their customers actually want. And bacon and double burgers was a big thing that kept on coming up in every country. So really, as a brand, the question that you're asking yourself is, why would I crowdsource? And it's fairly easy. It comes down to an ABC. First of all, crowdsourced video is authentic. Okay, so people actually trust stuff that's shot by members of the community about 7 times more than that of paid creative. And it's really the authenticity that you're getting from user-generated content. And then the B is breadth. If you want a greater diversity, then actually go out to the crowd and you get a whole lot of bigger ideas. And then of course C, the cost. The cost is significantly cheaper. So let me go into each of these ideas in more depth. So authenticity. Actually, every product has social proof. This is where you believe in a product because somebody else has told you. So you can look at advertising. You know that's come from the brand itself. So you always want some level of social proof. The lowest level of social proof is actually certificates. So if you have a certificate saying that we're trusted by this government agency or we conform to these standards, okay, that's okay. Higher up the pecking order is social media. Social media, people know is staged. Okay, I'll get on to influencers a little bit later, but they know that it's staged. They know it's somehow generated by the company, but it still gives people some social proof. Higher up in number 4 is ratings. So when people give reviews and give ratings, this is a great indication because they're averaged out about the product. In at number 3, referrals. So actually, if your friend refers a product to you, this is really great social proof. This is fantastic, and it means that somebody that you trusts this product. In at number 2, experts. So actually, if you get a write-up in a good magazine, if you get TV coverage, or actually if it's peer-reviewed, or the more expert opinion you can get around it, this is really great for social proof. But in at number 1 is customer feedback. Actually, the top social proof that you need is actually from customers who have used the product, customers who are enjoying the product, and this is why the Net Promoter Score is now the world's number 1 form of for measuring companies. It asks one simple question: would you recommend this product to your friends? And if they answer yes, then you have a Net Promoter Score of up to 9 or 10 in some cases. So that's the authenticity. Now, the breadth. It's often said in user-generated content that you have to kiss a lot of frogs to find a prince. Now, 10 years ago, when somebody came up with the idea of photographing an ice cream cone in a hand, and it had like 300 likes, this was great. But then, so this happened. And then this. And then this. And then this, because you know what? Hold the cone became a thing, which means that actually if you own an ice cream parlor or a gelatissimo or a gelateria, if you want to charge an extra $1 for frozen dairy, you've got your marketing campaign ready-made because everybody knows to hold a cone. All you need is a fancy brick wall or something for them to hold it against, and you've got your advertising. But it's not very authentic. It is user-generated content, but they all look the same. And then every now and again, and this is what I mean by kissing a lot of frogs to find a prince, every now and again, somebody interprets it differently, and somebody brings creativity. And this is the real joy of crowdsourcing, is that yes, you may get a lot of the crowd all following each other, but then you get something like this. And then you get someone really interpreting the brief with a unique flair. And that's kind of what you get in crowdsourcing that you don't get going to one agency. And then the C, cost. So yes, you can save up to 95%. So just to give you an idea, there's a crowdsourced advertising agency, Zupa, and they charge around $50,000 for a TV commercial, okay? And half of that goes to the winning creative, a quarter of it goes to the runners-up, and a quarter of it goes to the agency. Now, this is about a tenth of the cost of getting an agency to do a full 30-second TV spot. So you can see this kind of cost-benefit analysis coming in here. And this is a really core driver for using user-generated video. But even this cost of $50,000 is still beyond the reach of smaller brands. And I'll get to that later in the presentation about how smaller brands can use crowdsourced in their marketing. So let's get down to how to crowdsource. And really, again, it's another three-step process. So you can either run a contest, or you can pay influencers, or you can repurpose content. Now, this is not as easy to remember as ABC, but still, these are the three basic things. So let's have a look at contests quickly. So contests. This is really great for making promotional videos. Better actually than the other two methods, because if you give a big enough incentive to people, then they'll go that extra mile to produce videos. There are other ways of actually getting videos from customers, and in fact, there are tools like Vloggi, which I'll talk about later, which allow you to get individual clips and then make them into a montage of videos. But essentially, this is what this next video I want to show you did at a high brand level. And this is Coca-Cola in Australia that allowed drinkers of Coca-Cola to upload what they would want written on their cans or on their bottles. And what you'll see is that actually, again, just like the earlier Doritos example, it was the naming out, the shout out to the people who uploaded that actually was the biggest incentive. So even though these TV commercials were aired on national TV, the thrill of seeing your video there that you created, that you were being funny about on national TV was a bigger incentive to many than the prize. Let me run that video.
Doing this shout out to my boof head mate, Ollie. Come on, bro. Joke's over. Tell me what you changed the Wi-Fi password to.
Share a Coke and a shout out with every buffhead, mate and Ollie this summer.
And another trend you'll see there is vertical video. So when you're looking for a crowdsourced video tool, you want to make sure that it can ingest video in any format, vertical, horizontal, and if it needs to pillar box or add blurring. Now, obviously, I'm going to give a shout out for Vloggi, which does all that. But you want a tool that automatically does all that because people will upload vertical or horizontal without you knowing. And then influencers. Influencers cost thousands of dollars, okay, per post, and they get reliably good images. They're not very good at taking videos because they tend to all be very perfect pictures. So you'll see if you have a physical product and you want it shot beautifully, well, influencers are not a bad way to go, but it can get very expensive. And in the US and in other jurisdictions now, there is this rule that you have to actually say if it's a paid promotion. So actually, this has lessened the impact of these posts quite dramatically. In fact, there's been a 71% decline in trust in influencer posts between 2019, before this law was brought in, and now. So the influencer model is kind of a little bit under attack because you have to now say if it's an advert. Now, repurposing, which is hashtags. Essentially, hashtagging is a really cheap way of getting social media content produced by the masses, but it's actually very hard to pull off. Now, in this instance, this fashion brand managed to really nail it with a hashtag, "What's in your bag?" And they didn't really care if their brand was in shot or not. Well, they did, but the brief was that they didn't. But it was quite a cool hashtag that people could identify with. And this is one of the biggest problems with repurposing, is coming up with a hashtag that actually resonates with your audience, that they would actually willingly participate in that. Hashtags can also be hijacked. There's been a number of cases of car brands coming up with a hashtag, and then fans of rival cars actually putting up I won't mention the brands, but they put content purposefully that denigrates that brand. So it's actually quite hard to do. And then the other problem with this is that you actually then have to find the post that you like. So you have to have a hashtag listening service that collates all the images, and then you have to contact the person who's posted them and ask for permission and get rights. And then if it's a video, the video's disappeared, so you have to download it. So whilst it's quite cost effective, it's actually quite hard to do. There are solutions that can do this a lot easier, especially for video, and I'll get onto those a little bit later. So crowdsourcing at a lower cost. So how do smaller brands get in on this? There's a few options. So these are some of our favorites. So Yotpo is very good for getting text-based reviews. A lot of user-generated. If you want human captions or human text about your product, it's a great platform. Quite easy to use. Get reviews as well. ShortStack is actually very good for making landing pages to do contests. So these are some examples here, but if you run a contest and you want to get the video and get the, actually no, it doesn't do video, but get entries, it's a good way of making really good looking landing pages. Crowdriff is a hashtag listening service that essentially collates anything that has your hashtag and is a good service. And then there's Vloggi. So Vloggi, which is where I'm from, we actually make it really, really easy for you to get powerful video content from your customers. We integrate a landing page, a contest, and a video uploading tool to make it really easy for you to get all that video content from your customers' phones. To give you a little insight, of how people use us, they use us for testimonials, crowdsourcing across the country or across the world. They use it for crowdsourced editorial. Publications are actually using it to get video, to get beauty tips and other things from around the world. And then contests. This is a four-wheel drive automotive company here in Australia that used us to actually get awesome clips of four-wheel drives, SUVs going up and down through muddy fields, and everything is location-based, so it all knows it. So that's us. And why are we doing it? Really because if you look at the sheer need for user-generated video, we estimate that there are 6 billion hours of video needed just on 3 platforms alone. So if you were to add a video to every single Google listing, Google My Business, that's 6 billion video listings needed this year alone, if you were to do it. And the only way you can do that is to get the owners of those companies to actually make the videos themselves and then turn it into a professional video with a service like ours. Facebook, Facebook now, every Facebook group needs to have its own weekly video. So actually, they can source that, they can crowdsource that from their community. And then just looking at Amazon alone, if you just took all of their products that have images currently and turn them into a video listing, that's 400 million. Now, these are just 3 examples, and there are millions more. So actually, the need for video is so huge, and the only way we can fill that need for video is to get crowdsourced video from consumers. So, to recap, really, you just need to remember the ABCs. So, why are you doing it? Well, to have authentic content at great breadth and at a lower cost. And how do you do it? Harder to remember, but essentially, you have a contest, or you pay influencers, or you repurpose. Thank you very much.